Hey everybody, welcome to the Branch Impact Zoom call. Today we are talking all about Fast Start PPR, and we have one of the absolute best, if not the best in the business, giving us all the goods on Fast Start PPR. So before we dive into the content of today's message, I did want to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker. His name is Jeffrey Gamboa, and if you've been in the business for a while, you definitely recognize his name, but I know a lot of you branch managers out there haven't been in the business for too long, but Jeff is an absolute legend. He is a DVM down in Florida Gulf Coast and Florida Caribbean. He actually used to be part of the Northeast region, or I guess the Eastern region, but DC Metro would now be considered the Northeast region. So
Right.
give you some quick stats about his career here at Vector. He is over $65 million in career sales, which is absolutely incredible. He started back in 1997 down in Baltimore, Maryland. He was a number one rep in the entire company during his first summer with Cutco. He went DM in Baltimore in 2000. He was a Silver Cup rookie in 2001. And then he was promoted to DVM after 18 months open as a DM. So he took DC Metro, which is where he started, from the bottom, the lowest 5 in the company, to the top in 2009. He was then reassigned to the Florida Caribbean Division in 2010 and took it to the top in 2013. And then in 2017, he was given an assignment for an additional division, and he's now running 2 divisions, which is called Florida United. So some of the things that he is most proud of in his Vector career are the fact that, one, he was an All-American champion during his first summer at the company, the number one rep in the entire company. He hit FSM in 3 weeks, which, by the way, guys, this is when FSM was $30,000. He's had multiple million-dollar performances. He actually earned his Rolex in his first full year as a DM. He's one of the youngest and the fastest to be promoted to DVM. He's hit the Hall of Fame. He's actually promoted 2 DVMs. One you might know of is Kate Arbuthnot, who is the DVM of DC Metro right now, and Kathy Vasquez, who's a DVM down in the Southwest region. He had the number 1 and the number 2 branch managers in the company back in 2016. And he's been able to influence so many people throughout Vector, and just the community he's been able to create through his career here has been something that he's incredibly proud of. A couple of quick stats just about what he's proud of for this past year. He developed, as I mentioned to you guys, he developed the number 1 and the number 2 DMs or BMs in the company from his pilot office. And number 1 DM in the company last year was Andrew Evans, also came from his pilot office. He had $1 million summer in his pilot office in 2017, and he is really excited about creating a powerful network of mentors and mentees. And last but certainly not least, he is recently engaged and is in a thriving relationship with his fiance, and they're getting married in the fall of 2018. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Gamboa, who I know he is sharing his screen, so it's all you, Jeff.
Thanks, Shelby. Appreciate it. I guess if you want, maybe mute. I think there's a mode you can mute everyone else out for recording purposes. And I want to start off by saying thanks, Shelby, for the time. Thanks for the quote. It's always easy for me to say yes when I'm giving back specifically to the Northeast, because you guys are way too young. In fact, I started selling cut when I think some of you were born. It's to that point now, and that's real for me. So I'm a Northeast child. I'm a product of Northeast region. Al DiLeonardo was my region manager, not our CEO. Earl Kelly was one of the top DMs and turned into a DVM when I started. And just there's a lot of history. So anytime I can give back, I also think it's great to see those of you that have taken time to get extra growth and extra information, extra knowledge for your branch opportunity. And I also certainly don't want to give information until we at least say one thing, and that's, you choosing to be a branch manager says a lot about, the challenge that you're going to take and all the things that you may want to get from being a branch manager. I did this back in 1999. But what I want to remind everyone on this call is that being a branch manager is not what makes such a great experience for you. Okay. And I might be saying things that you guys don't normally hear, but this is something I'm going to say that my guys hear and girls hear all the time. Our region hears from me all the time, is that, running a branch office, you guys could probably give the talk of what's great about branching, from your resume to the experience. I don't know if you guys even have heard of the term taking the leap, with leadership, experience, adventure, personal growth. you should give the spiel. In fact, if you don't give the spiel in your office, it's a tragedy because the greatest story you can tell is your age and what you're doing. But where the really, really powerful leverage for you in the future comes is when you take this branch opportunity and you willingly sign up to do it again and get better and increase. That's called tenure. Like that's a term when you graduate and you're interviewing with other companies, they'll quote that, and that's tenure. So true story. My fiance is a physician, so she's down here at a conference and networking with some of the top people in her field. And one of the physicians, who's a prominent guy in his field, said, one of the things that we look for is someone who doesn't hop around, because a lot of times, even if it's not accurate, hopping around usually says something negative about the candidate. So we're looking for someone who's stayed with this hospital for 5-6 years and grown the program, et cetera. And I can tell you, because Andrew Evans, it's great because he's chosen us. Our Silver Cup champion for 2 years in a row has chosen us to be a district. But even if he didn't, what was getting him all these job interviews, and if you can ask him about the jobs he was getting, they're pretty cool, pretty high income as well. But he chose us for many great reasons, but he said everyone noted that he was with the same company. Everyone noted that he chose to increase and retrain for his second branch, and everyone noted he did it a third time. And that's what got him a lot of those interviews. The branch experience in Cutco probably got him an interview. But what got him these high-paid jobs and really got him to be a captivating 5-star college graduate is tenure. So just food for thought. And I promise I'll go quickly here on maximizing Fast Start productivity. And this is going against the vector model. But when I say I love PPR, if you're a really diehard Cutco nerd like I am, and I'm one of the best Cutco nerds, then you'll say, well, we're a recruiting business. And it's, PPR is all the thrills, but recruiting is what pays the bills. You might have heard that before. If not, you can keep that. It's not my quote. Right? PPR is fun and thrills, but recruiting is what pays the bills. Although that's certainly true, when you have high PPR, it's also way more fun. And if you do it right with recruiting, you still make way more money than someone who's recruiting that doesn't have PPR. Right? So what was cool about this summer is we had $1 million tab summer, 800 in new this past summer. And we got recruiting as a division. We were 1,500 recruits combined. And we got productivity, $2,500 PPR as a division. My office, and I'm just sharing these stats not to impress you, but to show you what we have going on here. The pilot was at a 5,400, 5,200 PPR for our average rep, and our Fast Start productivity was just under 3,000. So a lot of big business. And I'm showing you this diagram because it takes a lot to get successful reps, right? You get 20, 30, 40 people that net how many? You're sending how many Facebook messages? So what I wanted to scale down here is I wanted to narrow it down to all the systems that it takes that you can put into your office. And I want to be really careful because I want to preface by saying this message is not for you to change your training seminar. So I didn't go into heavy details of training, but things you can put in no matter what training you run. I'm not here to tell you to change how you do things in regards to weekly DVM influence, because you might have different names for your meeting that do different things. How you work with reps who are going for a 10K Fast Start. What I want to give you are things that you can plug, you can play, and regardless of the system that you have, these are programs you can put into your own respective divisions. And my disclaimer is make sure before you change anything, run it by your DVM. Run it by your DVM. And I think, if your DVM is against certain things, then I think you have to understand what they're saying and kind of operate with empathy, that they're not telling you avoid that change because they're not open to growth. And I hear a lot of branches say, well, my DVM is not open to growth. Your DVM has 5 or 6 other things that line up that might require you to stick on that program. So just run things by and get the go before we dive in. So for sake of time, I wanted to talk about 5 programs that I think really help out with Fast Start productivity. It's quality control of recruits, 10K coaching, and I'll go back. Quality control recruits are some philosophies and thoughts on the quality in the beginning of the summer and the quality that you retain and how you develop certain types of quality reps in your office. And I mean the types of students that you want versus the ones that you can get. 10K coaching, that's just our version and how we name people who are going for 10K Fast Start. I know there are different names. I've been in the business for many, 2 decades plus, and we just call it 10K coaching. We call it 10K coaching also because it sounds less intimidating versus 10K Fast Start. This is the hardest thing you'll ever do in your entire life. You have to wake up at 5 in the morning. Like we avoid all that because as the generation changes, we find that we're just turning more people away by even the name of it. So it's 10K coaching. Anyone likes coaching. Third, I'm going to talk about DVM influence, specifically our weekly meeting called an SLDM. and I'll reference what your DVM might call it. In fact, I don't know if the whole company does an SODM or FSM development, but I'll explain what that means in a bit. I do want to dive into some trading keys that no matter if you're on the Drew Frank 2-day training, the Southwest program 2-day training, I think those are the two big ones out there. I'm sure there are 3 or 4. There's a Trey Ketchum video 2-day training. These are things you can plug into any part of your training, regardless of which leader's guide that you use. So hopefully that can help you out. And I want to wrap up with something that was really big for our pilot in addition to these 4, which was AT1 and AT2 benchmarks, things that seem so simple. And it's really cool about what I'm going to share with you. I've got branches that are doing this. It's easy to say, and it's easy actually for me to even say, you look at the division, all the success with the PPR and the volume. Well, of course the volume looks like, because you have Andrew Evans in Metro Miami and you have the pilot. But what's really cool is that as it goes down, our branch average was, I think, the highest in the company. So it's also even to the new guys and girls like you who've never run an office. Yes, it is easy to say, well, the pilot's doing 5K in PPR, and that's probably not going to happen for you. But if I can get you guys to a 2K PPR or 2K, 2.5, 3K PPR, that can make a big difference on even 50 recruits. There's 150K in business. So easier said than done, but let's dive in quickly. And we should have time, Shelby, for a Q&A at the end. So first thing I want to talk about is quality control. And I want to be really careful not to come across, as Al would say, anti-recruiting, because I will tell you that the key to our business is always recruiting. And if you only recruit 50 people for the summer versus someone who's going to recruit 125 versus 225, it's a difference in opportunity. You got to make this a recruiting business. And that's not my message today. But I do think there's something to be said about quality control in the beginning. So my first tip is that our division did a really good job of quality control, of putting a lot of effort into the recruiting programs that brought in the better, higher income caliber, better schooling caliber students. And you guys know that as your Facebook program. And then I think, Shelby, the term you used was either boss PRs or top slice PRs. Again, that's one of those things where vector, depending on what region you have, it's like a different dialect, but it's the top highest quality PRs. Whatever your program is, and I in fact don't even want to share on purpose, who we prioritize, whether we text them or Google form or call them, because I think that's region by region. In fact, I just spoke to Kate Arbuthnot, now Vassie, about her program, and it's actually different than what we do. So if you're from DC Metro, that might be different from who I just spoke to, Greg Cothran, last week. You guys might do a completely different New York, New Jersey. But the bottom line is every branch manager in our division has a schedule from 10 days before they get to the territory, the week before, and the week of they're in their territory, of what their daily schedule is. And it's pretty simple. It's 3 things. It's in the morning, 50 messages sent, 50 refriends. Get on campus from 8 a.m. till about 12. Another round of any type of PRs they can set. And then they're running one-on-one interviews or group interviews in the afternoon. Like, it's just rinse, repeat. That's all it is. And then anything that has to do with setting up their office and decorating and any of that's after 8 p.m., after 9 p.m. So a couple of things on that too. We're setting a lot of people from 6 in the morning till 8 in the morning because we're just reaching out. And I hate to say it, it actually makes me cringe to think this, but a lot of kids just wake up and they're just checking their phone when they wake up. And Mike Abramovich, he's the guy that gave the manager Facebook, the manager PR set talk at SLC. These last 2 weeks, he personally has set between 20 and 30 PRs. And this is way ahead of schedule, meaning he'll set 40 to 50 in a week. But right now he's hitting 20 to 30 PRs, which is way ahead of schedule. And he says he gets up, he has his morning routine, and by 6:30 he's sending his first round. And he's sending between 3 to 6 people before 8 a.m. And then he'll set another 2 to 3 around between 12 and 2. And then before you know it, he's got 10, 15 on the day. Luke Masego is our pilot manager. He's in the other office. He's already set 15 for the week. He started at 3 p.m. yesterday. Going into today, he was at 15. And by the end of today, he'll be at 25 set. For us, that's going to be 4 launches. And these are 4 launches of our assistant manager's PR. So, long story short, right now what Luke has done is enough work for us to have 4 of our AM's friends in training this Thursday. And that for me will be a $6,000 weekend for our training. Like, I'm confident we'll have a $6,000 added report. And so I guess you got to get rid of the noise and anything that's not related to this right now, because you guys don't have a lot of PRs going to conveyor. Why? Because you haven't launched anyone. So there are no conveyor names. So you're really relying on Facebook. But once you have these small launches, don't write off 1 or 2 launches or that first launch out just to practice. Our number 1 chain of PRs in our $1 Million Summer came from a launch that was the last week of April. It was a rep that sold $600. But from her chain, Sloan Leva, her chain generated probably about $225,000 to $250,000 in PRs, and then chains from there. So don't sleep on low launches in April and May, because whatever names they give you could fuel your top slice. That's my first thought. Be really, really meticulous and prioritize that. Second thought with quality control is just the thought of quality over quantity. And I'm going to say this as precisely as I can. I actually thought about this in the car 5 times to make sure I don't say this wrong. I'm not telling you to be more selective. I'm not telling you to launch less people. I am telling you to have a higher barrier to entry in the beginning seminars, so that you start with a certain quality of rep, a certain income level of rep. Okay. And I think the reality, and I learned this a long time ago from a late alumni, not late, but earlier in my career rather, division manager Tom Cannon, who I just saw a couple weeks ago. Tom Cannon said, the reality is that we want to give a lot of people a chance to sell Cutco. But if the most successful reps are showing soccer moms Cutco, that's the term we use, just middle age, whether you use HM3 or Max, I think those are the 2 terms, HM3 and MAC, HM3 MAC. We say soccer mom in the interview. There's a certain demographic in all of our territory. I used to run Baltimore. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. So I have hardcore urban. I've got the outstretches, which is suburbia/urban, and I've got the upscale suburbia where I'm from. I got all 3. And now I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where I've got, one of our reps the owner of the Miami Heat. He's got a yacht that pulls up to his boat. Like that income all the way down to just as bad as any urban in Baltimore. And there's just a certain demographic that doesn't have soccer moms to show, right? So I think when we talk about the vector opportunity and giving people a chance, you hear these great stories of, so-and-so, we gave him a chance and he might have ridden his bike to the demos and he sold 10K. I think those are stories that make vector. We need those stories. But after we build the base, but after you have the core unit, okay? And I'm also being careful. I don't want to tell you that you're only keeping prep school students. That's not what I'm saying at all either. I'm saying you want to err on the side of AB versus CD, and I'll explain that in 2 seconds. AB versus CD. AB are the prep school kids, the top, that you don't even need to know what they say in the you're going to keep them for an interview. You would keep them. B are pretty solid reps. Maybe they don't come from the highest of income, but you would keep them. C's are what I would call people who are you're giving people a chance at a C, right? Meaning they have the people they probably could see, but it's one of those stories that I just talked about. Those give them a chance stories. Those are C's. And D's, and this is from Matt King, a former division manager. He would say, these are people that they are it's called physically offensive to any senses, right? So like visually it's offensive. Audio is offensive. Smell, hopefully not, but sometimes you never know. If they're physically offensive to the senses, these are people that we're probably not even keeping right away. We want to give them the professional, ethical courtesy of a pre-screen, but we pretty much know we're not keeping them. So if you think about that, we're not going to keep these regardless. I think the vector model, I think a lot of branches get caught in this. Well, let me give a lot of C's a chance and we can give, but the problem is if you don't have a lot of success for them to see, those C's don't thrive anyway. So you got to build a base of success. You've got to build a base of kids who can see middle income families. They don't have to be the top prep school quarterback, but they can be for me, I sold 10 grand. I sold 15 grand on my Fast Start. The homemaker, I think, was $700 at the time. And I have to say, I do come from a higher middle income family. My father was a very successful physician. But my Fast Start was from church. My Fast Start was from very middle income, Sacred Heart of Glendon, Maryland church, suburbia, not the high-end doctor colleagues. My dad was that guy who wouldn't let me see his doctor colleagues until he felt comfortable. My dad was that parent. So you want to build with the thought of quality versus quantity. So here's a really easy metrics that I use, 20% rule, meaning you keep your A's, you keep your B's, but only keep 20% of C's that come in for an interview for a chance. So with that, so for example, let's say you have an interview and 10 people show to your interview. Let's say 3 are A's and 3 are B's. So you're keeping 6 people. Then you have 4 C's that you could keep, right? And the vector recruiting model says keep 10 people for that interview. My model says keep 20% of that interview C's. So that means instead of keeping 4 C's, I'd probably keep 1 or 2 of the best C's in that interview. Someone who I'm just, maybe from the wrong side of the tracks, but a good person and you want to give them a shot, I keep 1 or 2. So what that means is my interview is now only 20% C's, which means my first show to training is only 20% C's, which means my launch is only 20% C's, which means my whole team is only 20% C's. And this summer, when we had $1 million summer, I had a good handful of people that were from the wrong side of tracks. We gave them a chance, and they sold, I think Malcolm sold 12 grand, 9 grand. I mean, some big time sellers, but they were only 10 to 20% of our team. And it was really easy to help them have hope, have support, have systems when everyone else on the team was seeing a lot of success. And I wasn't also ready. I was mitigating my outside energy suckers, because if you have a lot of those 20% that you're keeping, if the majority of your team is like that, that's more energy into fixing and helping versus driving the top 20%, right? If you're into the NBA, my goal is to get my top 5 starters to score the most, not to give everyone on the bench time. You see what I'm saying? Like, I want my top 5 people to score the most and win the game. We're not worried about playing time. So I think you just have to balance that out. So just be caught up. I see all the time, and it's not just in the Northeast, it's in any big market. There's a branch that has a nicer big market where it's easy to get touches, and branch manager day 1, 30 in training. All the time, every summer you see it. So a branch manager has massive amounts of people in training. They can't handle it. It's too many people, and they kept too many of the wrong people. So now they're spending time verifying base pay all week instead of driving sales. Versus I got a branch who launches 7. They have 7 in training. They launch 6, and they bring back $6 grand. No headache, right? I like the second business better than the first one. And here's what's cool: you have 2, 3. I would say the key is you get 4 to 5 launches. Once you get into like mid-June and then to the end of your recruiting in July, you can start to give more people the chance. But again, 20%. That's my first thought. Second thing on Fast Start Productivity is 10K coaching, which is just our model and our name for helping people, having a 10K Fast Start program. And so I have some easy thoughts you can put into your program. Number 1 is Fast Start Talk. I'm not here to tell you what Fast Start Talk to do. I'm not even here to tell you where you do it, right? To give you an idea, our Fast Start Talk in the pilot in our division comes in the first 15 minutes of training. I know I grew up running a branch where we did Fast Start right before PRs to get people excited, or right after PRs to get people excited about doing demos, and all those philosophies actually made sense. But in our system, we teach Fast Start in the first 15 minutes because we want to build value in that high flyer workshop. It doesn't matter. I've seen people do it all 3 ways. All I'm saying is knowing, and I would write down my Fast Start talking points. Like if I were to give you 30 seconds, a minute, a 5-minute, or a full-blown talk and training, could you promote why it's worth it for someone to go for a Fast Start? And if all you can say is because there's a limo night, whatever the 10K payoff is, you're only attracting the people that would be interested in the 10K limo night. If you're able to, if you're only talking about how you can make 2 to 5 grand in your first 10 days, then you're only appealing to money-driven people. But are you also talking about what does 10K do in terms of setting up opportunities for advancement for Leadership Academy? And now you're appealing to those people. And what does 10K do in terms of resume experience? So I would say talk to your division manager about what talking points you can hit for your Fast Start talk, because the key is I want as many people as possible interested in the coaching, not the number, not the money, but the process of going through the coaching. Once I'm done that talk and once I've talked about it throughout training. My whole goal is to get people to come to that high flyer workshop so I can instill certain philosophies. We don't really teach much selling wise. It's more so schedule and philosophies and attitude. So that was my first thought. Second, with 10K coaching, is just perspective on a 10K Fast Start. And this is a mixture of things I've done. Brian Herman from our region. I think Drew Frank probably said this a couple of times, but when we introduced 10K Fast Start for us in 15 minutes, it's, hey, having a 10K Fast Start is not hard at all. In fact, we have people do it all the time. But the reason that everyone doesn't do it, because not everyone gets the coaching. So if you're willing to work a little bit harder than what I'm going to show you and get extra coaching, you could have a 10K Fast Start. And all the things I just listed that you could get from a 10K Fast Start, experience, money, advancement opportunities, Leadership Academy, tropical trip, all those things, then you can go for that. But if you're interested, come talk to me during the break in training. Come talk to me tonight before you leave about 10K coaching. So we just say it's not hard. The only thing that you need is to be able to work a little bit harder and be willing to get extra coaching, which for me means do a couple more demos than everyone else and get the extra coaching, which means I want to see you Monday through Friday in the morning for phone time and instruction. And so what we have, let me put this here. What we have in our system is Monday through Friday, we have a set, outline. And Shelby, I'm more than happy to send that to you later, of what everyone in the division will teach the first Monday someone shows up to a Champions Club, and what everyone in the division teaches on Tuesday, and so forth and so forth. And for example, like on Monday, when someone comes to this 10K coaching on Monday, they come at 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday, their fourth day on the job, third day on the job. And some of you launch on 3-day training. Some of you launch on a 2-day training. Some of you are launching Friday. Some of you launching Saturday. None of that matters. What matters is I want to see anywhere between 3 to 5 people from my training, bigger offices, 5 to 10 people in that morning workshop on Monday. And can they commit to five of those sessions Monday through Friday? We avoid the whole, this is the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. Because you know what? The new generation doesn't want to do anything that's the hardest thing they've ever done in their life. I found that out the hard way. And I stopped saying that. Yeah, you're going to sell your soul and your boyfriend and girlfriend are going to hate you. I don't want I think reps are going to say, I don't want that. So I just say, you know, if you're willing to work a little bit harder and get extra coaching for 5 days, you can have a 10K fast start. And truth be told, we're really flexible. We're really flexible. If someone says, hey, this is what I have going on my fast start, I say, great. Well, can you agree to doing appointments around that? Then I'm going to hold you to that. I mean, I've had oh gosh, we had 20 people do over 6 to 10K in the first 10 days last summer. And I would say only 2 sold their soul to Cutco. The other 18 had stuff that they worked around. And your better quality students, by the way, can do that. They can get it done. So food for thought. Not the hardest thing. Just needs extra coaching and a little bit more work. And that's what I just put there. And then last thing is just Champions Club. Monday through Friday, it's from 8 to 9:30. And what they'll do from 8 to 9 is just get on the phone to book their 3-day window of appointments. So today, the next, and the next. So Monday, they come in, they book for any openings Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I want them booked at all times. And as far as instruction goes, I'll send you a document. But the first thing we teach them on the very first day, this is an old school Southwest teaching. We teach them how to share their goals, to talk about the scholarship, and essentially how to build rapport so customers are wanting to buy to help them more so than to get the product. That's every Monday for every new rep. And then Tuesday, every Tuesday is how to get more recommendations, a really basic video. Because if they don't have recommendations, they're toast for weekend number 2. And then number 3, 4, and 5, they're like options of what they can do. Up, dropping down, increasing average order, mental breakthroughs, all that stuff. So our program is based heavily on getting people to that high flyer workshop. One thing you might even want to offer to your division manager, I run our high flyer workshop and I just Zoom it for the whole division. So what they say is, hey, if you're looking for the extra coaching, tomorrow the division managers actually run it. And this is the guy that's in charge, or this is the girl that's in charge of all of Newark, New Jersey. And Mr. Cawthron, by the way, is going to be able to share the goods and how to have a 10K fast start. And I'll just Zoom it. And that way it helps to get extra attendance. That's another thing you can offer. Or you can ask your division manager to tape his or hers and just play that. I would say half my division zoomed in. The other half are just kind of, truth be told, they're probably late getting to their office. They just didn't want to tell me. So they'll just play the YouTube recording and just say, oh, this is our division manager. Either way works. Okay, so that's the second thought. Third, and this is pretty quick, is DVM influence. There's a meeting that I think, especially in the Northeast, the majority of your managers are running called an SLDM, or they call it an FSM development meeting. Long story short, all that really is, and I'll give you the DVM version of it, all that really is how do I get as many people from my offices influenced from me and hearing about future advancement opportunities. And woven in there, we'll teach them how to sell some stuff, and woven in there, we'll give them some sales skills. But the whole point of that meeting for DVM, and I just taught this to all your division managers in February in Miami, is to get all the development candidates in front of you, all the top reps first weekend, so you can share vision, and so they see there's more to Cutco than that branch office. So whatever you call it, I think number one is, are you buttoned up with your attendance skills? And in our TLA, we call this the awesome factor. You know, so many times people are really good at promoting with the awesome factor. You should get to sign up for this conference because it's awesome, and everyone's going to be there. That's totally awesome. And they read their bio, and they're just awesome, and everything's awesome. But you only attract the reps who think things are awesome. Versus, well, here's why it's going to be worth it for you, because in business they say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And this is a chance for you to network and meet the guy or the girl that runs our entire division. So then you'll attract that group. And so, without going into the whole spiel, attendance skills. Are you good at organizing who you need to target to get attending these events from your training? Number 2, are you planting seeds, as they call it? Are you talking about throughout the entire training? Are you covering the SLDM, FSM development in your scheduling talk? Is it part of the scheduling talk? Are you in your 10K coaching, your high flyer workshop, talking about the SLDM? On Monday advanced training, are you recognizing people who hit over $1,000 and can qualify for the SLDM? So just whatever you need to do to button up your attendance skills, I think is key. Number two rather, is value building. So I think with value building, just being able to share, it really goes back to the attendance skills. Are you able to build value on why it's worth it for someone to not do appointments on a Tuesday and drive to the division manager's office, or in some cases, drive back to your office and Zoom into this workshop when you could be doing appointments? Because for us, we don't even offer extra extension on the Fast Start. So, our value building has to get people willingly excited about a 10K Fast Start. Oh, but by the way, we want you to lose 3 hours of it to come to this meeting because it's going to help you do better in your Fast Start. It's going to help you advance. If you have any desire to get on this division manager's radar, you need to be at this event. Here's some stories of all the people that have gone to the event, what happened afterwards. These are all little things you can do to build value. And then finally, this is a DC Metro oldie but goodie. Ask Kate Bassey on this one. These are the post-event 3 questions. So anytime someone attends, specifically in this case an SLDM, or they get to go to any event, the next time you have contact with that rep live or on PDI, is you got to ask 3 questions. And the 3 questions are, hey, so what did you think? What are you thinking now? And what's the plan? So let's say Shelby's my rep. She just comes back from Kate Bassey's SLDM. And, I would imagine Shelby's going to call me on Tuesday on her way back. It's like, hey, we'll talk to me. Hey, so what did you think? And that's their chance just to share, right? You want to role play?
I wasn't sure if you wanted me to role play.
Yeah, okay. So, hey, Shelby, so I just leave Kate's office?
Yeah, I did.
Cool. Hey, so what'd you think?
I thought it was really informative. It was, she's definitely as good looking as you said she was. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. And you learn. And what did you learn? And then you go through that.
Yeah.
So that's the first one. What did you think? What did you think is going to tell you their impression? Okay. And it's almost always positive. Second question is, what are you thinking now? That, my friends, is the key to management, because then you're going to manage someone through what they want versus what we want them to want. Say that again. We want to manage people through what they want, not what we want them to want. Right? I see this all the time. New branch manager. Here's the division manager say, well, we got to get development to talk about branch. They call the rep Shelby after SLDM. Hey, Shelby, what'd you think? Oh, I thought it was awesome. Gosh, I learned that kitchen system technique from Kate, and man, I was just really excited. So what are you thinking now? Well, I'm really excited to get my appointments going on. Hey, what about branch though? Are you excited about branching? And they'll just shove it down people's throats, and they just start going directions that the rep isn't giving you. That second question, hey, what are you thinking now? Right, what did you think? That's their impression. What are you thinking now? They're telling you their hot button. So I run with that. Oh, I'm really excited about demos. Let's talk about those demos. And we map out how big the sales could be. Hey, what are you thinking now? Well, I want to talk about key staffing, getting into that leadership academy. Then I have permission to start talking about that. Right? So that second question, what are you thinking now, is their hot button. You can meet them where they're at versus forcing them to be where you want them to be at. And number 3, gives you also a chance to come back to the third question. So if they're excited about branching, let's say, they're excited about getting on the radar usually. That third question, so what's the plan? What did you think? What are you thinking now? So what's the plan, Shelby? It always comes back to how many appointments do you have? Right? Because if she wants to get into TLA, she's got to impress who? Kate Bassey. She wants to impress Kate Bassey. How? Demo CPO. Right? So fast forward here. So Shelby, what did you think? Oh, it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Like you said, I'm really glad I went to it. What are you thinking now? I really want to get into TLA. Yeah? Why? Cool. Tell me. I'll take notes on web PDI or wherever you take notes. Good. So what's the plan? Oh, well, I really need to get appointments. Good. Let's talk about your appointments so we can get you on Kate's radar. And it always comes back to activity and action, activity and action, activity, action. You can do that after division meetings, SC1, SC2. Anytime they go to the function that's a bigger group function than your office, I always ask those questions. So food for thought there. Last 2 things we'll talk about is training keys. And some of these, I would say oldies but goodies, but it's so funny. You go to all these conferences and you hear all these oldie but goodies, but then by the time it gets to your training, you only put in like 30% of it, right? And so here are some of the things that I think have made its way into our divisional training. And I would go to any training in any of the 30 offices we're putting out this summer, and not a single one of our offices would miss these. First one is top 5. And it's the concept of making sure our students are showing their top 5 people. And whatever way you do it in training, I don't want to change your training. The way I say it, though, regardless of where, is, hey, you want to know a really big hint on how to hit your first or second promotion by Monday? Yeah, anyone want to know? Yeah, it's really simple. You show your best 5 people, and I go to this whole spiel what that means. Best 5 people, not most comfortable 5. And I talk about best 5 people. Yeah, these are the people that, you know what? no matter what or how bad or how great your appointment is, you're probably going to make a sale, and not like an average order sale, not like a small scale, but at least a decent sale, like a homemaker signature complete, or maybe something even bigger. You see what I said there? Right? It's not going to, these are the people that you're definitely going to make a sale, but it's probably not even just an average order or small sale. It'll be at least an average sale, like a homemaker signature complete, or you might even get a big sale from that one. Because right now we're just modeling that a homemaker signature complete is not a big sale. And I'll talk about that in the next part. So, and who would those people be? Like who's, no matter what, probably going to be that sale? Yeah, right. Mom and dad, right. Yeah, boyfriend, girlfriend's parents sometimes. Yeah, grandma, grandpa. And why? And Shelby, grandma's buying from you. Why? Because you're such a great salesperson after 2 days of training, and you're really, really helping to understand the value at the highest level, and you have that really tight technique on how to close a sale. That's why grandma's buying? No. Why is she buying? Because she loves her baby boo, Shelby. That's right. And I go on that whole thing of who's just going to buy because they know you or love you. Or money ain't a thing. And I played the whole Jay-Z Money Ain't a Thing song. That's a side note, right? So it's money ain't a thing, or it's they love you and they'll buy because they know you. Easy sale, best possible customer. And then we have them write it out. And on the board, if your training is small enough, they write their best 5 out during one of the breaks, and you'll evaluate it throughout their phone time. And if someone's not a top 5, I don't let them see them on their first 5 appointments. And I'll ask, when we do our phone jam, we'll ring the bell, and I'll point to Shelby. Shelby, nice. What day and what time? Saturday at 4. Awesome. Top 5? No. Okay. Top 10? No. Okay, come here. And I have them reschedule it if it's not tied or fucked. Because I want them understanding that if it's not a top 10 easy sale, why would you do that when you can do that Monday and Wednesday and Friday next week after more training? This weekend isn't about practice. It's about confidence. That's not even from I think it's from Juice training. So we really prioritize top 5, top 10 from when we teach it to the phone jam. Second, this is definitely Drew. 1, 2, and 5. Number 1, show your number 1 customer right out of training. Show your best 2 people, the first 2 demos out of training, and then your best 5 people before I see you Monday. If you do that, you're going to be between $1,000 and $3,000, 1 and 2 promotions, $100 to $400, 15 to 20%, and it just rolls off the tongue. Like all of our guys know, you'll hit $1 to $3 grand, which is for us average, by the way. You want to be average for sure and have a chance of being above average, which is 3 to 6 plus. Show your best first person right away. Your best. So that top 5 list, you need to see them all before I see them Monday. And there's the different ways. There's a whole spiel that you can probably pull it up on Drew's training on how you explain what happens and the confidence factor. But we really, really prioritize that. No one leaves our training on the launch day, whether you do 2 or 3 day training. No one leaves training unless they're going into an appointment. Otherwise, they just stay and do phone time. Because the worst thing you can do is leave them training and they go into 0. They go into no action. Then, we tracked it last summer, not from we just don't let them do it. But in previous summers, I would track it with certain districts where 50% of the time those reps quit if you don't leave into an appointment. And there's a whole rationale behind that. This is definitely a Jeff Gamboa favorite, where in my training, specifically around the value section, I'll say, hey, don't act, think, or speak like a college student. Don't act, think, or speak like a college student. Right? So for example, and you don't know the full prices yet, but our sets are like the prices of a MacBook Pro, right? $1,000, $1,800, $2,200, roughly like that. Now I'll use that analogy in a second, right? And do you see people buy MacBook Pros all the time? Right. So for you to buy a MacBook Pro as a 17, 18-year-old, unless mom and daddy's buying it for you, it takes a little bit of work, right? Save up for it. If mom and dad wants to get a MacBook Pro for their son or daughter, they can pretty much do that. If they can't do it just like that, it's probably not a top 10 customer, top 5 customer. So don't act, think, and speak like a college student when you're talking about numbers. When you say, Mrs. Jones, this is our competitive set. It's called Woolstop. It's over $2,000. Can you believe it? Well, see, what happens is then it doesn't show that you understand the price. And if you don't understand the price, you lost the whole process of 7 steps to the sale. The first step to the sale is connection, and you lost connection. Why? Because whether they do it to your face or not, they're going to roll their eyes and think, man, this is a college kid. They don't know what I spend. They don't know that I just wrote that check for $2,000 for Johnny's books for the semester, or this nowadays swipe the Amex for $1,800 just to pay for the fraternity dues. And that's not even the full deal. So I just really have a whole spiel in my training of don't act, think, and speak like a college student. If you want, you're more than happy to just go into my YouTube at the end. All my training, it's a 3-day training tape. I'll tape 2-day training this summer, but my 3-day training is all taped. My SLDMs are all taped. It's all free. It's public access if you want to check it out for some of those talks. And then the MacBook Pro analogy. And somewhere around value, I talk about, hey guys, our most popular sets, not our biggest sets, but our most popular sets, the one that most people buy when you do the right job, are called the Homemaker Signature Complete. And by the way, it's just the price of it's like the price of a 13, 15, and 17-inch MacBook Pro, right? Who has a 13-inch? How much does that cost? Yeah, it's about $1,200. So it's about our set too. And they're hearing that on the first day. They already know. Because I don't want people shocked. I think I was brought up in a training where you would hold them in suspense and you actually would hold the price for them. And then you do a closing and then you deliver it. And it was almost like see? But if you don't pull it off, you're screwed. Like if you don't pull off the price expectation and they get that face like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of money. So right away, when I talk about value, I want people to see our most popular sets are the price of the 3-size MacBook Pros. And by the way, when you go to Apple, they're always empty, right? No one's ever there buying computers. Yeah, right. Go there. Go to Galleria Mall. Sit at Galleria Mall for 45 minutes right in front. Grab some popcorn. Grab a slushie and count how many people walk out a MacBook Pro. It's 10 to 20 every time. And it is every time. I've done it just for just out of effect. And they'll say, yeah, and how much do those things cost? Right. And how many of you know someone that has a MacBook Pro and mom and dad didn't pay for it, but they paid for it, right? And then you go into the whole, Beats by Dre, headphones, you go into Jordan sneakers, you can go into all sports equipment. So just, I like that analogy because it's something they can really relate to in regards to the sets. Okay. And then the 10 push-up rule. This is actually from this is from our 10K coaching session where I'll give you the short version. So, hey guys, by the way, when you come back to Advanced Training 1, right, I just want you to know that unless you've done 10 appointments, we don't even know how to fix you, right? So I want you to write down 10 push-ups. Here's what I'm going to share with you. If I'm a personal trainer and you sign up with me for personal training lessons and you want to lose 15 pounds, in the first session I have you do 10 push-ups and you get up and you go, but it didn't work. Right? You get on the scale after 10 push-ups and you say it didn't work. Well, of course it didn't work. Why? Yeah, right, Shelby, because 10 push-ups isn't going to do anything. Right. It's not even right. Exactly. It's not enough push-ups to get things moving. So, sometimes I help reps that will, after the first weekend, they'll come in on Monday, advanced training. They've done 3 reps and they'll say, oh, the job's not for me. And I'll just point to the board and say 10 push-ups. Not do 10 push-ups, but 10 push-ups because you've only done 3 push-ups, 10 push-ups. That's nothing. When you get to 10, right, what's the closing ratio? It's 65%. That means 6 out of what? Yeah, 10. So if you've only done 3 appointments, you don't know that the next 4 or 5 might be a sale, and you still have a 60-70% closing ratio. So we just use that 10 push-up analogy, and it's really funny because not often, I'm a more skilled advanced trainer than most branches, right? So I don't get a lot of that. But even for our newer managers, when someone comes in and says, oh, the job's not for me, it's very easy for my branch to say, well, Shelby, you didn't even do 10 push-ups. Like I'm okay with you not doing the job. I'm not okay with you quitting before you even do 10 appointments. So I even have a kind of a spiel where I say, no one quits before 10 appointments. That doesn't even give you a taste of the job. It's like you didn't even do the job. Can't even put it on your resume if you don't do 10 appointments. And so everyone, all the time, we'll have people that will do 10 appointments and say, this isn't for me. And we have a really awesome, positive send-off conversation. Hey, I did 10 appointments. Sales isn't for me, but I'm really glad I finished it off. But so many people we retained because they didn't quit after 0 for 3, 0 for 5, and so forth. Last thought, AT1, AT2 benchmarks. Let me give you the quick version. It's pretty simple. Skills checks. AT1, usually I would imagine most of you it's Monday. Advanced Training 1. I'm not going to get into what I think you should teach and all the skills there. But one thing we do for everyone that comes in is we have them role play their recommendation approach and we give them a grade. A, B, or C. Right? So in the beginning, they come in for advanced training. They're checking in their paperwork. Everyone's role playing, not doing phone time yet. They're role playing. For us, it's page 16. And then you go around with a clipboard while the music's going, and you give everyone A, B, or C. A means you're good to go, and you give, actually in the beginning of advanced training, we give props to all the A's and the B's. If it's a C, we put them on probation. We put them on timeout until after advanced training 2. Because if someone doesn't have the recommendation approach memorized by Monday, they're just going to burn through the rest of their recs, their warm list, and they'll have no recs after. So we just let them know, and I let them know before they leave training that we're going to test you on page 16. And if someone gets an A or B, awesome. And if it's a C, we're going to put them on hold until they get better with it by Wednesday because we don't want them to burn through appointments. And we put people on hold all the time. In fact, most people come with an A or B, but there's usually 1 or 2 reps every single training that we freeze their appointments. They have to do it for us by Wednesday at advanced training 2, and then they're good to go. On Wednesday, this was really big for us. On Wednesday, instead of that, we do the closing, but our advanced training 2 is 2 hours. I think a lot of offices, they just kind of mail in advanced training 2 and don't really do it, right? We just get them on the phone. For us, advanced training 2 is a big part of the skill set. We teach them how to do phone time for the first part, and the second hour, it's all just drill for skill on the closing. So every rep will do their close at the table for the manager while everyone else does just continues to role play. So 2 things happen. They're role playing the demo that they've only done live probably 4 to 7 times, multiple times before the second weekend. Number 2, I mean, yeah, people, they've got the blue book. They're holding the blue book upside down. When they write down prices, it's so tiny, minuscule, they don't even know it. And we're able to fix before they go in. And all the time, our Thursdays always explode. Every year, every week in the summer, Thursdays erupt for us. Not because we're doing that many more demos. I guess part of it's phone time. The other part of it is they all know how to do the right closing versus whatever the heck they were doing Monday, Saturday through Tuesday. So that's skills check. Number 2 is attack list. At all times, we are really vigilant about attack list, which is their customer list. From advanced training 1 to advanced training 2, their assignment is to have 30 to 50 on their attack list by Wednesday's phone jam. And we give them this a whole exercise we do in advanced training 1 on how to make that list and who that should be. We actually put a power hour into their schedule. So before they leave on Monday, part of advanced training is either Monday night, Tuesday, or Wednesday before they come in, they're assigning an hour, not for an appointment, but to work on this 30 to 50 attack list. So what's really cool is every time, like every week, when you do this right, Wednesday, the new group comes in and they always outperform the old team because they have a fresh list of people they know 30 to 50 deep. And so they're getting 6, 7, 8, 9 demos per head versus our regular team is getting 4, 5, or 6. So 30 to 50 on the attack list and power hour in the schedule. And last thing I'll wrap up with is benchmark PDI. So you get a lot of contact on, if you launch on Friday or Saturday, there's a lot of PDI and a lot of communication. And then on Monday, we see them for advanced training. And then Tuesday, ideally, they go to an SLDM. Then on Wednesday, they come in for team meeting and AT2. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, days 6 through 10, they usually fizzle out with communication for one main reason. You're busy training people. Right? You're busy running the next seminar. So Friday morning, across the division, we have what's called benchmark PDI. And the manager will take everyone that's still on the team from the launch the week before. So it's the Friday after the launch. They'll take everyone on the roster, write everyone's name, and they'll write a number 1, 3, 6, 10, or 15 plus next to everyone's name. It's what do they think that rep can get you for their fast start by Monday, right? So I'll say, okay, this kid's at 200. I know I can get them to $1,000. So 1K, 3K. Oh, Malcolm's already at 6. He needs to book his weekend 10K. So there's a number next to every single one of our fast starters, second weekend. That PDI in the morning, our conversation is something like this. Hey, Shelby, how's it going? Ready for the weekend? Good. Hey, I see your appointments are here. Look, I was just doing some planning. I wanted to ask you, what did you think you could get to for your fast start? Right now, you're at 2,700. Well, I think I can get to probably 6 to 10. I want to go for the VIP night. All right, cool. Hey, Shelby, I want you to go for that. But ready? I put down, I definitely think you can get to 6. Like, I want you to go for 10, but I definitely think you can get to 6, and here's why, and I'll share why. Or someone's at 200. Hey, you know what? I think you can get to at least $1,000. I know you haven't gotten off to a fast start, but remember that 10-80-10 rule? Yeah, that's okay. You still haven't even finished the 10 days yet. But once you get to 1,000, then you'll start to understand it. So I really think, Mike, you can get to 1,000, and here's how I think you can get it done. Let's talk about that. Is that cool? And they'll map it out. And what happens is we really have intentional conversations Friday to drive Saturday, Sunday, Monday, versus most branches lose contact Thursday till the following Monday. So it's just an intentional way of setting goals with your second weekend fast starters before you go AWOL to run training. Okay. So I'll stop there. Shelby, I know we're kind of out of time. Apologize, but I don't know if you had some Q&A, if we have to stop it here.
No, we've got about 11 minutes of Q&A.
Okay, cool. Do you want to start or do you want to open it up? I think you do.
Yeah, why don't we open up? Does anybody on the call have specific questions? You can just feel free to unmute yourself. And if not, I've got some questions I wrote down.
Sure. Yeah, Shelby, why don't you shoot the first one? That way we get going.
Cool. So what would be your suggested timing of implementation for all that you just taught us?
Yeah, I think most of you are probably just starting or about to start goal period in the next 3 to 4 weeks. If memory serves me right, schools get out later up there than they do for us, right? Shelby, when are you guys getting out of class?
Well, Midwest is pretty much all opening up this week and next week, and then Northeast is slightly later in the middle.
Okay. So it's easy. If you look at implementation, I'm going to pull up my thing again. If you look here of the 5 things, right? I think it's really easy to do quality control now. So that's just a change in thinking. This is just a change in who you're accepting. 10K coaching, you may not even have your first training, so you've got time for that. But I would prioritize number 1 right now and get really good at that system. I would say implementation too. I would have conversations with your DVM, probably this week, and just say, hey, I got off this call, and what do you think about these points that Jeff made? Quality control, and I would be most careful about the last 2. The 4th one, training keys. Like, hold up and see what your division manager is comfortable with. But the other stuff, like, I don't think any of your DVMs are going to get mad if you tell them, hey, I tested everyone's rec approach on Monday and I drilled for skill everyone's closing on Wednesday. I promise you no one's going to get upset at that. And the PDI benchmark on Friday. The training keys, we have to be careful. And then the 10K coaching, you have to have a good conversation with your DVM to see how they want to promote it. Do they have an SODM? What is it called? Are they doing a 10K high flyer workshop? If you guys don't even have that, I mean, if you don't even have a 10K high flyer workshop, it's nothing against your division managers. They just have a different system. But if you want to implement it, ask them first. You're more than welcome to play my YouTube. I mean, it's on YouTube. You just play it. So it's free for now. Maybe I'll start charging.
That's awesome to hear. So last question for you. We kind of answered the second question, but do you have any other general tips for the summer for these branches? Maybe not even pertaining to Fast Start PPR, but
yeah, I do. I have the same 3 thoughts I shared with my projected best 3 branches this year. Number 1 is the more buzz you have about Leadership Academy and advancement and doing cut through college, if you've heard that term from us before, the more people excited about that, the longer people sell for. So if you can make your culture about people advancing, what it's like to do cut through college. On my YouTube, there is a cut through college talk. I think it's from SE2. It's from SE2 in 2017. And it's not that I think you should play that, but if you just watch it, it'll give you a sense of how to talk about advancement and how to talk about people sticking around and why they should stick around longer. Because if it's just about making a few bucks, then you know how that goes. Most of you are not here because you just want to make a few bucks either. So I would get really good at the development culture, number 1. Number 2, I would put blinders on and not worry about the reports in May. It's very easy to get discouraged. I even made the point earlier, someone's going to have 30 in training day 1 as a branch, right? And they'll probably sell $3,000 for the weekend. I don't know. It happens all the time. 30 in training, $4,000 first weekend. If I have 30 in training, I'm shipping $50,000 from the training group. Mm-hmm. 30 if we mess up. But they have all these big, so don't worry about what other people have in training in May. Run your race. When I was a branch manager, I showed up to SC1. I was last place. And then I ended up being, I guess, I don't know, somewhere at the top. But it really paid no difference. And also for our recruiting, the biggest recruiting month in the company is June. May gets it started, but June is the biggest recruiting month in the company. So the sales pop in July. So you could really fall behind in May. I hope you don't, but you could and still have a tremendous summer. And I mean tremendous meaning you hit the trip 150, 200 plus. I think that'd be a tremendous summer.
Agreed.
So, yeah.
Thanks, Jeff. Guys, any last questions here?
Yeah, Shelby, I got one.
Okay, cool.
All right. So this was regarding like the thing you talked about in the beginning with the A, B, and the C reps. Right now, obviously, I've talked to my division manager a little about that. His rule for us right now is just, unless you think they're going to make out with the whole office that day, hire them to get started. But I kind of get what you're talking about, the philosophy, like you want to get the good people in to start with. Like, what's kind of your cutoff like with a C? I mean,
like how do I objectify what a C is? Like, how to objectively say? I would say, who's your division manager?
Jake Miser.
Okay. Yeah, I think A's and B's are pretty much everyone you would traditionally think about from a Cutco rep. C's, sometimes I think they sometimes come from the wrong side of the tracks and you're giving them a shot. But not, D's really easy. Physically offensive to the senses. It's, if a sense is offended, you know what that means. And yet you also have to, I think you have to be careful too, because you have to be careful not to label people. And we also want to do things the right way. And you have to treat people with respect. It doesn't matter. In my office, I don't care if we know we're going to excuse them from the interview as soon as they walk in. You got to treat people with dignity no matter what, and treat people right. But I think to that point, it's the people that you'd probably give a shot to, right? Sometimes it's that quirky kid where you don't know if they even would follow directions, but you give them a shot. And I think you could open it up in the beginning, but yeah, I think it's good to have an educated conversation with Jake on that one so that I don't diffuse the culture there.
Right. And then just kind of like to add on to that, like say, you have those 4 C's in the interview, but you're not quite sure which one to keep. Do you keep them through the main part of any interview, then just kind of handle the post as you would any in the pre, or do you?
That's a really good question, Josh. It's Josh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. You could do it both ways. We would excuse them because, we'd excuse them. I'll just make it easy. Yeah, we would excuse them before. So people sitting in that group interview know that we're working with a certain clientele, if you will.
Great question, Josh. All right. Well, Jeff, thank you so much again for your time and for the PowerPoint. This was absolutely amazing. And like always, guys, I'll have this recording up in about 24 hours. So feel free to watch. There were lots of great nuggets. And again, thank you so much for your time, Jeff.
You're welcome. Thanks, Shelby. Good luck, everyone. Have a great summer.
Have a good one.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.